morning, Vanessa here, Life Mentoring. There's actually a quote today that's really apt for the message I have for you. And the quote is, don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Because my message today is that so many of you have got it the wrong way round. And some of you may have realised that, in which case this message will just reaffirm that you're doing the right thing. I find that people quite often want to feel reassured that they've got it right, especially when they're doing it very differently to other people. So the thing is, if you actually think about it, you'll actually see that it's flawed logic, and that's why you've got it the wrong way round. I'm going to give you an analogy. This isn't about money, but money is a really good one that people can relate to. So you've got some people who say, I will save what I've got left right before the next payday. And then you've got the other people who say, when I get paid, I'll put a chunk of it into savings and then I can spend the rest. Now the difference is the people who say they'll save what they've got left generally don't have anything left to save. So they don't get to save. Whereas the people who put the money aside first, they obviously actually have savings. So the aim really is to change your thinking and be the other person. Because the same thing applies with time and with energy. So which person are you and which kind of person do you want to be? So my message today mostly is aimed at parents, and more specifically ENFP and INFP women on the Myers-Briggs scale. But don't worry if you're not familiar with that. It's not categorically this, but this is those people definitely tend to fall into this trap. This happens to people without children. People who've chosen to be childless, they still can fall into this trap. I definitely think it's a personality thing, but there's always exceptions. So what happens is you actually have this view that you must give to other people. So you give first, you give, I must make my children happy. I must do well at work and make them happy. I must help my parents and be there for them. I must be there for my friends. I must be there for my partner. And your view, whether you've realised it or not, is that with whatever is left, you will give to yourself. Now, if you go back and if you understood the money saving analogy, you will realise that it doesn't work like that because there will never be anything left. And actually what you do is you try harder and harder and harder. And what happens is you generally, research tells us that it's not until you're about 50 that you then start to realise, and you kind of stick your head above water and go, well, hey, what's happened to me? Where am I in my life? You've just been heads down doing all this stuff for everybody else for all these years. And you suddenly realise that you have been neglected. So you have neglected yourself. So what's the effect of this flawed logic? The effect is that you have robbed your kids of the opportunity to learn because you've decided that you want them to be happy. And you've decided that you'll do this by giving them everything. If you make them happy, then you can be happy. That's the logic. But the truth is we can't make other people happy. That's down to people themselves. So what you're actually needing to do for your kids is you need to facilitate their happiness. And you do that by teaching them, by helping them to build resilience. And you do that not by doing everything for them, not by being there for every want that they have. You need to teach them the difference between wants and needs. You need to let them find things out for themselves so that they build that resilience. It might seem to be working incredibly well for you, but what happens is when the kids get to teenagers, that's when we start to see it fall apart. So what happens is the kids get to teenagers and to youth, and then they start to find they don't have these strategies. So what we have now is a lot of youth struggling today as they enter that early adulthood because they haven't had the lessons and the ability to learn it for themselves. So what should you be doing? You should be creating balance in your life. That means you get included just as much as all the other people you are trying to make happy. You don't leave yourself to the end. You are also then modelling for your children and letting them find out for themselves how life works and how they can become more resilient and they can learn things for themselves. So the message today is, don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You need to pay attention to yourself. You need to not give yourself the message that you are the least important and you will have the leftovers. So in summary, flip it around the other way. Stop trying to make everybody else happy first and then say you'll be happy when they're all happy. Flip it around, start paying attention to yourself, get some balance and model this wonderful, wonderful way of living that actually then makes everybody happy, including yourself. Thank you for listening. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel and I will see you next week.